Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my AFL tips for round 8 and going through and reviewing my AFL tips for round 7 in a round where I got 6 out of 9 tips right, so pretty good, top 38%, and again climbing in the ranks for the overall ESPN ranks. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, I tipped St Kilda to win by 17 and they lost by 7. So I was 24 points off, so not the best pick. Not the worst pick though, because it was a tight game and could have easily gotten the team right, but not the margin. So that was alright. Then you have Brisbane winning by 48. I tipped Brisbane by 43, so a pretty good prediction there. And only 5 points off and getting the right team was alright. Then I had Sydney winning by 22, and this looked alright until about about 7 or 8 minutes to go in the game. Sydney were up by I think 24 or so it looked pretty accurate. But they ended up losing by conceding the last 4 goals of the game, including a goal with about 50 seconds left. That was pretty much telegraphed. You could tell it was going to happen when the ball was knocked out of bounds. And yeah, so they lost the game. And then I had Bulldogs here by 26. They ended up winning by 29. So in the end, only 3 points off on this one, I guess. So is it 3 points? Yeah, 3 points off on that one. So that was a really good prediction. Then I went bold with a Melbourne pick. I said by 76, and they ended up winning by 90. So I mean, it was bold to say it was going to be an absolute blowout just in case North actually turned up, but I think we're seeing North resolve back to their previous self as they've lost their last 5. And then I had Carlton by 45, as I thought West Coast Eagles would put up more fight, but obviously not. Ended up getting this prediction wrong by roughly 63 points off. So I was getting most of my wins actually pretty good on target, but didn't get that win right. Then I said Geelong by 43, and they ended up winning by 28 in the end. I mean, if Essendon hadn't kicked so accurately, I think Essendon kicked, 16 goals? 8, I want to say. If they hadn't kicked so accurately at the start, I think this would have been pretty close. And I think Geelong put the foot off the pedal at portions of the game. Then you can also see I tipped Richmond by 25, and they lost to Gold Coast by 24. So basically flipped the team, and I would have got that really good. And then I said Collingwood by 17, and they won by 1, so I got another tip right. And so I ended up pretty much getting a good score in the end of 6 out of 9. That's pretty decent. And now we move on to round 8, and I'll put this. Do I do squiggle or not? I won't do squiggle this round, as I think these are going to be it might be an interesting one, but I think the ladder's pretty tight at the moment, so I think it'll be more influential in another couple of rounds. I think as there's a couple of blowout games here. So first off, you have Carlton versus Brisbane, and this one's a tough one because you got Brisbane who are looking really, really good, and you got Carlton who are looking really, really good as well. And this is at Marvel Stadium. This is a tough one. I really want to go with Brisbane here. And I'm going to say Brisbane in a tight one, a high-scoring game. I'm going to say this is going to be 185 points plus. Like, we're going to see both teams reach 90, and I think Brisbane win this one by 8, and I could quite easily be off of this one by a good 30, 40 points. Either way, as both teams are so high-scoring. Richmond will win this game by, I'm going to say, 35, 40, no, even 35 is sort of an understatement. But then again, it is Richmond, and Richmond have really been pathetic this year, to be honest. Outside of Timmy Taranto, they really haven't shown us anything to really warrant them being anywhere close to being finals. Like, them and the Swans the Swans and Freo have been the 3 really disappointing sides this year. And I do think Richmond and Sydney do have a slight excuse in that they've had not only have they had major injury concerns, they've had major injuries in one department in terms of a lot of their key forwards or defenders and key position players have gone down, meaning that basically any team that's tall is going to beat them just because they have height and they can just bomb it in long. So, do I think West Coast have a chance against Richmond? I think Richmond have some players returning, like we saw Soldo come back last week, and he proved pretty influential. And Samson Ryan seems to be building into the game as well quite well. So I think Richmond still do bring this game and win it by 35 points. Then you have Geelong versus Adelaide, and Geelong, I'm going to say it now, if Geelong are only 2 wins off the top and a win off second place, they'll be second or first within a good within 3 or 4 weeks. I think they're blowing away teams in about a quarter or two. It's like they were so easy. They had it so easy against Essendon, and I just don't see how Adelaide stop Hawkins and Cameron at the moment. I mean, Hawkins has kicked something like 17 in his last 3, and then I'm just going to bring it up this way. I think Cameron's slowed down, but I think Cameron's still at 30 this year. And Cameron's kicked, 9, 12, 19 in his last 4. So you've got 2 guys that have effectively kicked 19 and 4, and Hawkins has kicked in his last 4. He's kicked 8, 13, 17, 19 in his last 4. So you've got 2 guys in their last 4 games that have combined for 38 goals. So how are you going to stop the equivalent of 5 goals from those guys? So yeah, I just don't see how Adelaide does it, and I think Geelong win this game by 26 points, as I do think Adelaide won't get blown away, but I think Adelaide will have runs, but I think Geelong will just have a big run somewhere in there where they kick 8 or 9 goals, and it's just game over. Then you have Gold Coast versus Melbourne, and Gold Coast have been a surprise package, but I know that I'm going to pick Melbourne here because they've just looked really commanding. I mean, you've got the Grundy-Gorm partnership, which is probably the best in the AFL at the moment. And then you've got Van Rooyen's playing all right. I mean, he's playing pretty well, but for a rookie, and he's playing really well for a rookie key forward, but he's playing pretty good for a mature aged guy. If he was like 24, 25, 26, like a natural key forward, he's playing all right. But as a rookie, he's playing really, really well. I mean, he isn't. It is his second year, but it's his first AFL year. So they've been pretty commanding, and I think they win this game by 42. I think this is a blowout potential. Then you have GWS versus Western Bulldogs, 2 teams that are showing a little bit of spike in form, and I am going to pick Western Bulldogs, I think, just for the pure fact that I think Bont, Bazza Smith's going to be there. I don't know if Libba will be back, and McRae, and I don't think GWS can handle that midfield, and I just think that Western Bulldogs will win this game. Yes, it is at Manuka, which will be home field advantage, but I mean, it's only going to be like 10,000 fans there, so I think Western Bulldogs just will do it, and I think you'll see Ugle-Hagan kick a bag. Then you have Freo versus Hawthorn, and how many games have Hawthorn lost this year? They've lost 4 straight, and Freo have. This is the thing, because I want to pick Hawthorn, but they're not looking too good, to be honest with you. If we look down here, they lost by 29, lost by 3 to Adelaide, lost to GWS, that's going to be, and also lost to Geelong. They got beat up in that Geelong game. So, what did I say the Western Bulldogs would win by? I don't know if I put a margin down. I'm going to say Western Bulldogs by 20. I'm going to say 20 over GWS. So, like I was saying with Hawthorn, I really want to pick them, but I don't know if they're going to get it done over Fremantle, who have Andy Brayshaw, who's back to pretty much at his best. So, I think I got to go with the safe pick of Fremantle, as they surely pick it up at home. They're really starting a handball heavy style, and I think they should get it done against Hawthorn, but I think it'll be a tight game, and I think they'll win by 19. Then you come to Port versus Essendon, and I think, who do I think is going to win this? Because Port's been pretty good. Who do they? They beat St Kilda. That was a really good win. They beat Eagles, pretty good. Beat Western Bulldogs, and they've also beat the Swans in a 4-game run. And I think being at home, I think their crowd will get around them. I do think that they've had a pretty good. The Swans game, they were going to lose that if the Swans didn't lose the key forward. the key defenders, and they got the Eagles in that run, but they did have good wins over St Kilda and over the Western Bulldogs, so I think you have to take that into account, as well as the fact that if we look at Essendon here, they've lost to Geelong, lost to Collingwood in a tight game, beat Melbourne, that was a pretty convincing game, and beat GWS, so it is a closer game, but I do think Port get over the line in quite probably the thriller of the round. I think they beat... it will be the thriller of the round, but the best game will probably be the opening game with Brisbane. I think Port win by 8. Then you have the Swans versus Collingwood, and this is a tough one to pick as a Swans supporter, even though I'm very... because I have my biases, even though I still have to go with Collingwood in this game, the Swans just do not have any height at the moment. I'm willing to bet that they are the smallest side out of anyone in the AFL. They don't have, I think their tallest non-key position player is about 188 centimetres. They have no 190 centimetre small or medium forwards or midfielders. It's really starting to show this year as the key forwards get injured and you start having those 188 guys turn into key defenders, key forwards, etc. And then you have guys that are 182, 183 trying to battle it out with guys that are 10 centimeters taller, and it just doesn't work. And that's the problem I think they're facing, and that's why I think they really need to get Harry Himmelberg in, as well as Connor O'Sullivan in the draft next year, as that's the only way I can see them really fixing it, as I don't think you're not going to be able to take away Tom Green from GWS or anything like that. So a lot of the taller midfielders are sort of set in stone in their places. So it would be taking a punt on, I think there's one or two guys, probably like a Will Seldenfield of last year. Try and find someone like that who's a bigger body midfielder. But that's the only way I think they can solve it. So I think Collingwood, I do think Dacos will have a lesser of an impact in this game. But I do think they'll win this by 16 points. And then you got North versus St Kilda. St Kilda's going to win that. 100% they're going to win that. And I think they'll win this by probably 50 or so. I think Tim Membry's going to kick a bag of 6, maybe 7. And they'll win that pretty convincingly. So those are my tips for the round. And so those are the tips. And so in the end, hopefully, I'm going to hope for a 9 out of 9. But realistically, if you look at the tips, you've probably got 1, 2, 3. You've probably got 4 games at least that you're pretty much guaranteed a win off of, and then it's just picking 5 games. It wasn't like the last round or the round before that had like 6 or 7 tips, and you're only really tipping on 2 teams to get it to be in tough games. So this will be I think this will be one of the lower scoring rounds. But that's the video, and I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.